What did you do after?
I wrote up the will, and it was duly signed and notarized. Before Mr. Oldacre returned to Norwood, he mentioned some other documents in his safe that needed attention, and I asked him if I would come to his house at 9 o'clock the next day.
Did anyone see you enter?
Yes, the housekeeper, Mrs. Lexington.
Did anyone see you leave?
No. Oldacre showed me out through the French window so as not to disturb his housekeeper.
If you did not kill Mr. Oldacre, Mr. Mcfarlane, who did?
I swear to you, I don't know, but I may have one clue. While I was going through Mr. Oldacre's papers, I came across some checks made out to Mr. Cornelius.
And who might this be?
I don't know, but Oldacre was very anxious to hide those checks from me.
Were the checks in large amounts or small?
Very large, and there seemed to be quite a lot of them.
I would like to ask you more questions, but I hear footsteps outside.
Those are pretty loud footsteps. They must be wearing high heels. They're impatient.
Oh no, they're coming from me.
No, don't run.
Just have a plan.
No, don't run. If you are innocent of wrongdoing, I will see to it that you get justice. Now here, behind the door. And we will let the inspectors in. Watson, do you see who that is?
Quick, behind the couch. Look at cover.
So you hiding, Holmes. I know he's here. We tracked him to your door.
I believe it's Mr. John Mcfarlane you're talking about. Yes, he is here.
He has a shiny badge. They both do.
Aha! There you are. I arrest you in the name of Scotland Yard. Higgins, take him away.
Yes, Inspector.
Mr. Holmes, you are my only hope.
I bet he thought that you could get him off with all your reasoning and deductions, but it won't work this time, Holmes. The law has him firmly within its grasp.
The law needs to let go.
What has he said to you?
Words.
He has told us about the will. And that he left the gentleman alive and well. Mr. Oldacre, that is.
I suppose I should rest my feet a bit. We've been chasing that one around all over London since 9 this morning.
For a policeman, he looks very intimidating.
So, he told you about Oldacre's will, did he?
Yes, he did.
Awkward silence.
Well, I shouldn't take what he said at face value, Mr. Holmes.
And why is that?
There's evidence over there on the table. Seems to have left it.
Oh, snap.
Take a look at it. They're quite curious, are they not?
That they are. I can read the first few lines, and those in the middle, and on the next page, and some at the end. But the writing in between is very bad, and I can't read it all in some places.
And what do you make of that, Miss Shred?
Well, What do you read?
The good writing represents stations, the bad writing represents movement, and the very bad writing passing between points.
Ha! You are much too good for me, Mr. Holmes, but what bearing does this have with the case at hand?
It confirms Mr. Mcfarlane's story that Jonas Oldacre was drawing up this document on the train to London.
Perhaps he was in a hurry.
Or perhaps he never intended to use the document.
Well, he wrote his death warrant when he wrote that will.
Do you really think so?
Don't you?
I believe there are some points that are unclear.
Well, nothing is unclear to me. When a young man finds that when a certain older man dies, he benefits a great fortune. He then goes to this man's house, murders him, drags his body out when the only person in the house is sleeping, drags it to a woodpile, and tries to cover it up with fire. Is this not obvious?
A trifle too obvious for my taste, Lestrade. Perhaps he died while trying to extinguish the flames himself.
Nice try, Mr. Holmes, but we have more evidence than that. His study showed signs of violent struggle. His safe was left open. Important papers strewn all about.
I see.
That, and we found blood on Mcfarlane's walking stick. But only time will tell.
One moment, Lestrade. Would you be so kind as to accompany me to Norwood on Thursday?
Well, Scotland Yard has finished its investigation, but if you would like to see for yourself, I'll go with you.
Thank you, Lestrade.
Good day, Dr. Holmes. Dr. Watson.
Good day, Inspector.
What do you make of this, Watson?
Things are looking very dark behind Mcfarlane.
Yes, I must agree with you. Lestrade may be on the right track.
I'm afraid you may be right, Mr. Holmes.
When is the next train to Blackwood? Or Blackheath?
You mean Norwood, don't you?
If I meant Norwood, I would have said so.
Yes, you would have. It leaves in about an hour. But I don't understand.
Lestrade thinks that this investigation is over, but he has yet to question one person. I think the logical way to approach this case is to throw light upon this curious will.
And what shall I do in your absence?
Keep up with any further developments and stay in touch.
I shall, Holmes. Good luck.
Good luck.
Cellular device. Oh wait, never mind.
So, Miss Mcfarlane, I trust you have heard of this Norwood business and the charges against your son.
I have heard them, Mr. Holmes, but I do not believe them. My son is innocent of wrongdoing.
I believe so too, and I hope to find more evidence to prove so.
Jonas Oldacre was an evil man, and the world is a better place for his death.
That is a very strong statement.
I won't lie to you, Mr. Holmes. I cannot grieve over the fate of Mr. Oldacre, except that somehow my son may suffer for it.
Your son mentioned a past connection with Mr. Oldacre. Could you explain?
Jonas Oldacre is an old suitor of mine. I was engaged to him once, many years ago. Thank goodness I had the sense to turn away from him before it was too late.